Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am from Lahore, Pakistan, and I teach IELTS here. And through this video, I'm going to teach you further about IELTS writing task 2. Remember, task 2 is more important than task 1, and task 2 is same for academic and general training candidates. Task 1 is equal to 1/3 and task 2 is equal to 2/3. That's why you need to pay special attention to task 2 so that you could secure a good bench score in task 2, and then obviously we'll be discussing task 1 as well, and you'll be able to get a good bench score in task 1 too. Watch this video carefully and follow all the guidelines, all the text that I'm showing you. You got to follow that, and then you'll be able to get a good bench score in IELTS writing as well. Usually writing and reading, these are the two modules where participants are getting rather low bands, but with a little extra effort you can get a good bands there. So today we'll be talking about organization, and then we go ahead. We are going to see how can I develop my answer logically. Logically means whenever you are writing an essay, it should be logical. Logical means whatever you say, there should be a logic behind it. If you are presenting the arguments should be logical. I mean, sometimes say logically it's not right, or you are logically wrong. So logic means the reason behind something. That is what we call logic. So your answers should be clear. It should be according to the logic. How can I develop my answer logically? You need to start each new paragraph with a word or phrase that shows that you are making a new or related point. As I told you before, that whenever you start a new paragraph, the new paragraph will start with the topic sentence. If I read the first line, I should understand now in this paragraph, this is your topic and you're going to talk about this, right? So you should start like that. For example, while this is a popular view, not everyone takes such an approach. Another possible cause, right? Now another possible cause means you are going to narrate the second cause. One cause you have already narrated. If you write this in the beginning of the paragraph, I would understand from read, or the examiner will understand that now you're going to narrate another cause. As far as X is concerned, now X is going to be the next point you're going to mention, or you should do this to make your ideas clear. Now let's do this number 2. Which of the following expressions could you use to begin your second paragraph above so that it links well to the first paragraph? Now I've got 4 options. Out of these 4, the first one is nevertheless, some people feel that. Number 2, it is also the case that. Number 3, initially. Number 4, however. So which of the following expressions could you use to begin your second paragraph? What do you think? 1, 2, 3, 4. Initially cannot come because that would be in the first paragraph of the body of the essay. However cannot come because that will be in the contrast of your essay, when you are giving a contrast, the opposite side. So it should be, it is also the case that. Means you mentioned one thing, one point, now you're going to mention the second point. For that you're saying it is also the case that. Now we are going to go through a paragraph. We got to go towards some sentences which are called paragraph openers. We got some paragraph openers below for the task on traffic congestion. Remember the task? In the previous video I told you about traffic congestion, so keep in mind traffic congestion and avoid using the words first, second or third. There are a number of ways that we can help solve the problems of traffic congestion. Now there are going to be those number of ways. Paragraph 1. One way would be to make sure that every family only has one car. Now what are you doing in this paragraph? You are going to explain that we got to decrease the number of vehicles. This is what you are going to explain, and I told you yesterday, in one paragraph there should be one main point, then the supporting detail, and then the example and conclusion of that very paragraph. So when we say one way would be to make sure that every family only has one car, you can write that in one sentence, one paragraph. In paragraph 2, please fill in the blanks on your handouts. Fill in the blanks. In paragraph 2 you will write another way of reducing traffic congestion. In the blank you've got to write another way of reducing traffic congestion would be to increase the cost of petrol. Yeah? You remember when petrol was expensive, people were thinking before taking out their vehicle.
Sometimes there is no petrol available.
No petrol available as well. So another way of reducing traffic congestion would be to increase the cost of petrol. Now do you understand? These are going to be the main points which you're going to write in separate paragraphs. Then you're going to explain these points, you're going to give examples, and then you will close your paragraph. Right? In every paragraph there will be one important point. That's the thing. Paragraph 3. A more controversial solution would be to charge people for road use. Yeah, for example, if you want to go from here to there, they will say 20 rupees. If you use Mall Road, 50 rupees. If you use Jail Road in Lahore, 100 rupees charges for that, okay? As they are doing the toll tax on the highways and all that. So if you do it locally as well, then people will think many times before using Mall Road or before going to any other road. But that's going to be very, very clever, or it's going to be very cruel. So in paragraph 3, more controversial solution would be to charge people for road use. Do you understand now? In all 3 paragraphs, the points are totally different. Right? These are the points, main ideas, then the supporting detail and example and closing of the topic. Now let's go ahead. How can I link my ideas within paragraph? Now this is another important thing. You've got to link your ideas within the paragraph. You can link your ideas by using linking words and phrases, and these linking words and phrases are however, yet, unfortunately, indeed, then, or generally speaking. When you're talking about any general thing, then you can write generally speaking. Note that they don't always have to be at the start of a sentence. You can use these conjunctions or these connecting phrases anywhere in the sentence. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the beginning, somewhere at the end, and all that. Now let's see, we got number 5. Here are some supporting points for 3 paragraphs about traffic congestion. Add each point to the right paragraph by using the words given to link up the ideas. We've got the first one, the second one, and the third one. The first one is, there are a number of ways. Now we are using there are a number of ways, right? There are a number of ways that we can help solve the problems of traffic congestion. Now first we say there are a number of ways. Next, one way would be to make sure that every family only has one car. Although, now you got to just see the words I'm using, they are connecting the ideas, right? When I say one way would be to make sure that every family only has one car, although this may seem difficult at first, families often find that they can organize their lives so that they can share a car or make better use of public transport. So here I used one way, although, to connect the sentences. Let's go ahead, the next speech bubble. Follow the next speech bubble. Another way of reducing traffic congestion would be to increase the cost of petrol. That was our second opinion, second point. If fuel was more expensive, people would soon decide to drive less and walk more, or take a bus, and as a result there would be less traffic. And the last, a more controversial solution, because we had 3 points. A more controversial solution would be to charge people for road use. Generally speaking, this approach has been successful, particularly when the toll is on very busy roads. Now you got to read this topic with me, and you got to think, if you are going to write an essay on this topic, what will you write? Water is an increasingly valuable resource. Now the first thing is, water is an increasingly valuable resource, but people continue to waste a lot of it. So what's the statement? Water is a valuable resource, but people continue to waste a lot of it. Some governments want to impose permanent water restrictions on domestic and agricultural use. Now some governments, they want to put some sanctions on that. Others feel we should put more effort into recycling water. Now some governments, they want to impose restrictions, and some governments, they want to recycle water so that it could be used. To what extent do you agree with these two solutions? Now what are the two solutions? Solution number one is permanent water restrictions, right? Permanent water restrictions. For example, you will get 20 gallons a day per family member. That's it. Whether you shower or wash or whatever you do, you will get 20 gallons a day, for example. So one solution is this. Second is recycling. So you got to just see, recycling is better option or putting restrictions, that is the better option. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now you're going to start your first paragraph. Let's read this together. Water is definitely an invaluable resource. Without it, we cannot survive. Now this is the first paragraph. You are rephrasing the topic in your own words. Today, many governments recognize that they need to limit the water that their citizens use. Some also attempt to recycle water. Now listen here. You have to rephrase the topic in your own words. Right? Don't use exact words from there. Just in your own words, in your own way, using your own sentence structure, you got to rephrase. So this is a good example, and this is the first paragraph. Some also attempt to recycle water. Both approaches to water conservation are necessary and should be promoted, though I feel the first is generally more successful. So you have told clearly in your essay the first approach. What is that? Water restriction. So in this essay it means you are going to favor water restrictions. Clear? This is how you will write the first paragraph. Let's go ahead now. Now you got to fill in the blanks. I will give you the words and you got to fill in the blanks, right? Now complete the gaps in the two paragraphs. Now these are the two paragraphs of your essay. Below with a correct reference word from the box. Some of the words will be used more than once. In countries where water seems to be readily available. Now tell me, which paragraph is this? First, second, third, fourth. Which paragraph is this of your essay? Second paragraph. And topic is about water. The first paragraph we just did. In countries where water seems to be readily available, people may at first be reluctant to reduce their their water consumption. So initially, now the words like so, initially, and then there is the comma. You got to watch it very carefully. Punctuation should be taken care of, right? So initially, governments need to make their governments need to make their citizens aware of the consequences of using too much of this valuable resource. Now if you're using water many times, again you can be penalized that you are using the same word again and again. Repetition of ideas, repetition of phrases, repetition of sentences, that is all negative. Now for water, what has he used? This what?
This valuable resource.
Valuable resource. So this valuable resource means water. Once people realize that water supplies are limited and that they have a responsibility for conserving water, the task will be easier. The task will be easier. Got it? Clear? Now we go ahead to the next paragraph. It must be remembered that people use water for many different purposes. Now we're going to talk about the purposes where people use water, which range from It may be remembered that people use water for many different purposes, which range from running domestic appliances such as washing machines to large-scale agricultural projects that need large quantities of water for irrigation. In their in their efforts to reduce water use, governments need to target all these different types of water consumption. It should be all the, actually, all the different types of, not the, you can use these as well, all these different types of, or all the different types of water consumption. This will often involve creating special laws. This will also involve creating special laws. Now see, these are the two paragraphs. First you wrote introductory paragraph, then you wrote the second, and then you wrote the third one.